There's Hashem, it should be a good week, Shvur Tov. We're going to be learning weekly Tanya, Weiter throughout the summer. As we already saw, a tremendous Shmaya with the last 34 prokim. And it's worthwhile to note again, it says in Lessons Tanya, the first page of the second volume, which is 451 over here, that the Tanya is based on one verse. Remember, it's the Hakdama to the Tanya. It says, for the manner of observing Torah is very near to you. Korov Elechem, Davar Ma'od. Yeah. Yeah. It's a pasuk in Devarim. So this is the everything you do in life needs to have some sort of matara. Yeah, you have learning, your matara and learning. What is it? The vekas, to know Hashem's Torah. Everything you do, come to daven, to daven to Hashem, to be real and say I need things, honestly, Tanya and Himmel, I need help. Whatever it is, each thing is going to have a matara. Yeah? So the Tanya has its matara, its title page, its mission statement. Like my book, United Souls, it's about bringing a yichud on the level of neshama. So that's a big part. You have to have a matara. No, but that's why it's important to have matara in everything you do. It's a whole, there's a Goyish book, he's a Chacham, his name's Stephen Covey, and Shmuel Diamond's his whole derech of chizuk that he's giving right now. He was just in Los Angeles giving lots of shirim there. There's Baruch Hashem, there's people mamish who chazik from him. So one of the nekudas he's done, he's taken Stephen Covey's 7 habits or 8 habits, and I turned it into 10 habits, but he's made it in his own way, and he's connected it to Torah, and he's based on Rabbanim who hold of it. It's definitely got a lot of chachma in it. And the second habit is end in mind. So it's all about building a mission statement in everything you do. Like if you go to Shmuel Diamond's world, he has a mission statement for his family. Like a mission statement means a matara for the family, for the mishpacha. A mission statement, matara for the Shabbos teach. Everything has a matara, and then through that matara, through that goal, through that clear, very worked out, like he goes over it and over it until he gets it clearer and clearer, more and more and more, like Mavar, as we're learning in Meishloach, to Mavar from Shlomo. So for example, family, let's say, look, I can't talk for him, but let's talk for myself, for our family. Our family, Shamatara, that we're all very unique, we're all Yechidim, and we have to learn how to be able to be mechazik together, not to be cholak on each other, So that would be a good matara right now in our family, because in a lot of different paths, a lot of different journeys that we've all gone on, and each are very strong souls who Yechidim learn how to have achdus. So the Tanya, the matara for the Tanya, the goal, the mission statement, is to bring out not only the inyan that we're Beinoni, that's one of the names of the Tanya, to be real that most of us halavai should be Beinoni. But the other point is that it's very near to you. The Torah is something close to you. To Megala, the fact you have a nefesh alakis, it's within you. It's not something in another. But you have to go every time, travel somewhere to go get close to Hashem. You have to go to the Rebbe every Moshe Shabbos. The only way, obviously, it's good to be dovik to a tzaddik, but the tzaddik himself, if you go speak to the Rebbe himself, you say it's very important to also see the tzaddik within and build yourself and make your own decisions. So if you actually speak to the Rebbe, the Tzaddik, they don't want you to be dependent on them. That's the point. And that's also a concept that Shmuel Diamond brought out from society. It's not just him, I also did. It's the concept of interdependence. The concept is that you have independence, you are your own person, but you're bound up with other neshamas like your family, your Rebbe, the community, you have a kehila, but you're independent within that. And then through that you become interdependent. It's a higher level than being somech on people. It's a level where you are your own yochid, but you are able to make achdus with the community around you, and you understand that the Rebbe's needed as well, like it's part of the project, but you're not dependent on it. That's what you have to understand. These are more developed concepts. So for example, for Shacharis, Simaya Zilberg used to say, before you say Hodu, it's a good question. Before you say Hodu, Shem Kuru Shmo, it's the first thing we say in Pazuka Zimra. He said you should have, that is the moment where you need to have a lot of chukah, a lot of desire to have the vekas to Hashem, connect to Hashem. And that's where you build a lot of the rotzen for the whole davening. Starts with that first part of Pazuk Zimra of Hodel Hashem Kuru Shema. Should build up a tremendous rotzen and desire. So then that whole davening from then on is elevated. I do want to learn in this rabbi's kollel because it's very important. But Min Hashemayim, my Chavrus is a bit late, and I'm a little bit later, so he already told me beforehand he's going to be a bit late. So we can do a little bit more of this because we're just starting the 35th chapter of Tanya, and it needs a little bit of Hakdama. Baruch Hashem. So I was looking at his Sefer about, it's very deep, I was talking to him about it last week. You have Rav Chaim Vital. Yeah, it's connecting to a little bit what we were learning with Rav Shlomo, who gave a shout out to me in his own share. Remember I showed it to you. The Indian of having a sensitivity to Holy Tzaddikim. But one of the things, as Rav Chaim Vital says in his farm, is, and this is brought in Kabbalah, that there's a very strong chiluk made between the nefesh of a yid and a goy. Yeah, and it's very strong. But at the same time, if you read other parts of Chaim Vital, he says you have to have a you have to have a love towards them also, but to bring out the kavod Hashem in them also. So it seems like a stira. Same with Tanya. Tanya, if you look at Tanya, right at the beginning of the Tanya, it's very strong lashon about, the Am Yisrael come from, we have an Nefesh Alakis and all this, and then it says by the Goyim that they never do anything the Shem Shemayim. They don't know how to do Chesed Lishma. They don't know how to serve Hashem Lishma. Only understand how to do Lishma. It makes us chiluk. But then you see in other places in Tanya, once again, and other places in the Torah or Torah and other mimers from the Balatanya and all the way through to the Balatanya Rebbe, that you have to bring out the Avasa Umas Olam. You have to be Makab of the world. You have to be Ola Goyim. You can't just say that Shegets, God forbid, speak that way. And he seems like a contradiction. He says they also do. There are some Hasidah Salam who do Chesed Lishma, like during the shower, and there's so many stories. Even right now, I would say there's like Douglas Myers. Certain people are putting themselves out there for Am Yisrael. It's dangerous for them to be on our side, seemingly. Yeah, obviously Hashem's going to help them and bless them for making the right choice, but it's dangerous for them, and they still do it anyway because they're good people. Yeah, and that's something important. You have to understand when it says one thing in Torah doesn't mean that's the cloud against Torah. You have to understand the Torah. One of the Chachamim by Rashi Mazuva used to explain to me, when you're learning Torah, you have to plug it into the whole Torah. So that means you have to learn the whole Torah. If you only get one, so that's why it's so important to have kesher to a Rav or Samech Chacham, like someone like this. I'm telling you, talk to him. He's a Talmid Chacham. He knows the fuller picture. So you can ask him about something in Tanya, and he'll tell you, yeah, but the Rebbe later on said that's not healthy. So it's not that the Balatanya was wrong, Chas Shalom. It's just you have to put it in the full context. And this is the point. The Torah is near to us. This is how he's beginning. He's reminding us the Torah is near to us, and there's all the different ponim of Torah, all the different ways the Torah comes out. It brings you a more balanced view of understanding Am Yisrael's connection. So the way I'd understand it, I explained it myself, is on your inner level, you have to make a chiluk between you and a non-Jew. You yourself are not going to marry a non-Jew. You're not going to, there's boundaries, but at the same time, you have to find the good non-Jews and mechabed them and bring out the good in the world, including the non-Jews, not just Am Yisrael. And that's the balance of, we work with both things. Inside, you don't make shidduchim. You can't marry a non-Jew, but you can do business and you can have kesher. You can be all a goyim, and they can also teach you. Like we're learning from Stephen Covey. He's not a Jewish person. He taught so much for so many people. He's an incredible guy who brought down klalim. I told you one of them. End in mind. That means having a mission statement. No, it's a lot. It's big. He has Svarim books and dugmot.
Why couldn't we have enough toilets?
No, because he has a way of explaining things that halavai only now maybe Jews are starting to talk to as well. He was a head of, and the Chabad were molded to this. Chabad Shlichim learned his books because he had a way of communication that made sense to our generation. That's the point. And we have to update ourselves a little bit. We're still talking in Torah language. Like if I take the beginning of Tanya, it makes it sound like we're racist or something. So you have to know how to explain it properly according to the door, where he understands that we have to be one of the concepts, not dependent. You become independent. You have to become your own person, but you do it together with the interdependence, with the Kehila, with the Rebbe, but you're your own Yochid. And that we see this in the Torah. This Chodesh Sivan, Parshas Baloscha. This is man. You have Tu'umin. Tu'umin represents the balance of the Yochid and the Kehila. It's a very important concept. Where's the Kehila? The Kehila is by Chodesh Nisan. That's the Shepsela. They're all Kahal. Son Kadoshim. And then you have Chodesh Iyar, which is the shore, its own Yochid, its own people fighting the Yetzer Hara. And then you bring the two together, the Tu'umim, the twins, brings both aspects, the Yochid and the Kehila. This is brought down in Bnei Yissaschar and others. There's a Yichud between the Kehila and the Yochid. And now who says it clearer for our generation? This guy, this Stephen Covey. He says it very clear, interdependence. He explains it in terminologies that are modern day mind. Maybe you grew up in the Chassidische world, maybe not as much, but someone like me is coming into the Chassidische world. I'm not seeing the concept in Panemius, but I don't know how to put it into a business situation, or I don't know the way he does it, and it's all systemized. I'm making it much more simple than the way he says it. He has a very complicated system of how it applies, because you can't get to independence until you've worked into yourself. You can't join the Kehila fully until you become a good, healthy Yochid. You have to first have a personal victory, a private victory, before you can get to public victory. And as he goes through the habits, through the stages, through the shlavim, you can then go from inner to outer. A lot of people, they jump, try to be part of the politics, try to be part of the Kehila, but they haven't done any of the inner work, and then they become abusive in the outer world. So there's a lot of people. Like, a lot of Melandim teaching inner, but they didn't yet do the inner work before they became someone who's meant to be Mahanich. And first, you have to Mahanich yourself before you can Mahanich anyone else. So there's an example, yeah? The verse asserts that the Torah is easily fulfilled all through three forms of expression. We've been talking about Machshava Diba Maisa, the way you think, the way you speak, the way you act. Yeah, the level of thought is in your heart. Yeah, in your mouth, the way you speak, and the way you do, action. So that pasuk is a description of Machshava Diba Maisa, of the three levushim of the soul. In your heart also refers to emotion of love, a fear of Hashem, and they're very near to. Is it easily attainable to have Hashem and Yos Hashem once you tune into the Nefesh Elokis, and the fact you have a Yerusha from the Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov within you, as a dugma. Concerning this later and as a reality, as a Messias, this later statement, the Alter Rebbe points out that this claim appears contrary to our experience. In fact, it's by no means an easy matter for us to acquire the love of Hashem and fear of Hashem. In our time, fear of Hashem would be awareness in our generation. In ours, he explains that the phrase that you may do it qualifies, describes the emotions intended in the words, in your heart. Thus, what sort of love and fear of Hashem is very near to you in your heart? The love and fear which serve to motivate one's practical observance of the mitzvahs. This is the key to the whole game. Really, we were talking about it yesterday. You have to, with David Moshe, you have to apply Yiddishkeit. The most important thing is application. It's not enough to keep learning. It has to always be almanas lasos, l'kayim, and to make it reality. To do it. But that means you need to sort out the inner reality to bring it out in the right way, that you have Ava and Yira. This is why learning this is very important. Intellectual contemplation of Hashem's greatness will lead. So Derech Chabad is not so much on the hisbodedus, the speaking, it's more on the hisbonenus, on the thinking. Developing more Ava and Yira in your heart. The gadlus aboyrim, the greatness of Hashem, which is one of the important concepts that non-Jews also know this idea, that when you go up to someone, you say, I have so many problems, you have to teach your problems how great Hashem is. Hashem is much bigger than your problems. Like you said, not focusing on the black dot on the white paper, focusing on the white paper. There's so much greatness Hashem gives you. Hashem is so great, and He makes the Niflas of Boira, and the Torah is great. All different ways to come to the Gadlus of Boira, the greatness of Hashem. The Alter Rebbe then want to say that he who is suited to such intellectual contemplation may also attain a love and fear of Hashem by revealing the natural love hidden in the heart of every Yid. Yeah. By the way, that whole Stephen Covey, I did a whole course in it in our Shrenu for 2 years. I went over it and over it. And I have many classes online and SoundCloud. Some of them I put on YouTube, some of them a little bit on other places, and I have mentioned it a few times in different places. Like when I worked for Rav Orish, I went through it, Kufa, where I went through it as well, according to the spheres and the Sheva Shabbosos and the Chomta, which we haven't got to yet. The Alter Rebbe then wanted to say that even who is not suited for such intellectual combination may also attain a love and fear of Hashem by revealing the natural love. Remember, we have a Hava TV, a Hava and Yira TV. And that gives us ability to love, want to be close to Hashem, but also have an awe of Hashem. Yet from this wording of the verse is very near to you, is evident that however necessary the love and fear of Hashem may be, the actual practical observance of mitzvahs is paramount. At the end of the day, you have to do, and that's what the Babasha Rebbe was the strongest advocate of Ikehi Maisa. How many times you go through a shirim and you saw those videos growing up? Ikihi Maisa. You see the Rebbe saying it again and again and again. The main thing is to do. It's also important to bear in mind also Rebbe's definition of the rank of Beinoni. The Beinoni, see, remember, you've got the matara, the goal, but the Torah is very near to you. It's in you, in your heart, in your mouth, in your actions. But then he goes on to say the Beinoni. That's the other. I mentioned Ben Shamayim, maybe from years of learning this. I remembered there's two main klalim of Tanya. There's this pasuk we just mentioned from Devarim, and now this concept of Beinoni. The Beinoni, he was not guilty of any sin. That means he's never actually acting on his Yetzirah. You understand? That's a madriga. That means you really have to be kovish. That's it. So in your bechina of Maisa. That's why it's so important how you speak, how you act. Is it's the first thing you really need to work on, much more than the madrigas of all these high things of Siddiqim and stuff. Because you see by the Siddiqim, before they went into all these alamas and all this stuff, they've midas. That was what the Rav said, who spoke Shabbos Day. He asked the Nazir. You know the Nazir? It was a Talmud of Rav Kut. Yeah? He asked the Nazir's son all the madrigas that he reached in terms of he was aiming for Nevuah in life. He was trying to become a Novi. Yeah, that was his aspiration, his goal, to become a Novi. Yeah? Bring back Nevuah to Am Yisrael. Yeah? So he said, what's more important, Torah or Midah? In terms of working towards that. He said, Midah. And that's the same when you learn Sefer, the beginning of it, not that I've learned it, but when I've sat by Rav Mordechai a few times, he brought out, before we go into anything in the Sefer, you have to work on your Midah. You have to have more simchas achayim and control of your kas and gaiva and taiva and all this stuff, and be more kind to people and all the different aspects of Midah. We're learning during Sfiras Omer, etc. The inner evil of an animal soul, however, retains its native strength and is capable of arousing forbidden desires in the heart. And by constant vigilance, this is some vigilance. This is something which is tamidi. Shvisi Hashem negli tamid. You have to do it all the time, your whole life. Prevent these desires. The Beinoni prevents them from finding expression in his actions, words, and halavai in the olam of machshava, of the vush of thoughts in your heart. Hinei the Toseftas beer tevis lasloisai. So we're beginning of Perek 35. It's big Dhamma, and we'll get more into it soon because we need to learn the other Baruch Hashem halacha. Thus, elucidate still further the term that you may do it. For the matter is very near to your mouth, in your heart. You may do it. That's the climax of the verse. To actually do it. Gam lahavi ma'at mezer tachlis bias Beinonim. Let's understand at least in a very small measure the purpose in creating Beinonim. Why was there this level of Beinoni? So one of the issues is we're not able to come to a level of a tzaddik where we were created to be Beinonim. What's pshat? This is the Tanya's very big chiddush in clarifying this whole sugya. Based on Chazal and other svarim, you don't see it so clear like the Balatanya brought it out. That to become a tzaddik, you have to have like ibun neshamas. You have to be given it as a gift on some level, because as I said, halavai, we should be a Beinoni, someone who never does aveiros, never speaks aveiros, doesn't think in that well. He might have a muhammad with his Yetzirah, but that's all within. You read this in Shmoseim, Le'olam Hazel, is babish nefesh, a behemoth, a keeper, v'sichachah. Also, the purpose of their soul descends to the world being clothed within an animal soul, derived from keeper and sichachah. Remember, that's the Ratzon Hashem, to give us, remember, we learned very strongly. This is part of Yiddishkeit, is accepting the reality that you have these things are not bad. It doesn't make you bad. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge other people. Definitely not. It's a reality of human reality, of a Jewish reality, to have all these things, to have an animal soul and have the other side, and you have to learn tools how to process it and deal with it. That's part of Hinuch, part of growing up, is learning how to live with all these realities and not be overly chumradik, not be overly judgmental, to be real with this reality that we have these aspects. Since they will not be able to banish the animal soul, and not even dislodge it from its place and left part of the heart. And this is something which, if you listen to Rabbi Jacobs, for example, he says one of the important things the clients need to accept is we have a nefesh bahamis, and the more we're real with that nefesh bahamis, the more we can deal with it. If we pretend we're malachim and angels and we don't have an animal soul, then we're going to actually make much more mistakes. It's like not accepting the fact that you have to stumble in order to learn the Torah. You have to make mistakes in order to learn Torah. If you think you're going to be shomer Torah mitzvahs by never making a mistake, that's not emes. The Meishlach brought down from Chazal. You have to learn, make mistakes in order to learn. They wipe your glasses. Let's just finish off because we're going to learn the other Seder. So that no evil images rise from it to the brain. Insomuch as the Beinoni, the essence element soul derived from the Lipa, remains in its full strength of potentia at birth. Yeah, except that the garments do not clothe themselves in their body as mentioned above. So what we have to realize, for example, we're talking about with the non-Jewish souls. So we see Ben Shemayim, we told the Rebbe yesterday, started speaking about Gerim. And there's so many Gerim. At times of Purim, he was learning from the Tanya Belial, from last night with Malka, and then he started talking about the Gerim of our generation. And Ben Shemayim, I was sitting there, I haven't been to his Malka for a long time, and it reminded me of Ari. Ari's been driving me back and forth while we're learning the Ketamaran. We're going back and forth, and we're learning this we're seeing with these Gerim, these special souls, like David Emmanuel, who just got married. These special souls, we're seeing how they are coming back and with a tremendous will to have the Beikos to Hashem and to learn Torah, and they also take on this levush of Beinonim and the Beinonim, and you see that they're able to elevate that aspect of themselves, and that's part of what we're here for. We do it as a Jew, they do it as Gerim, and we do it as Balei Tshuva, they do it as Gerim Tzaddikim, and it fixes up tremendous things. We can't even imagine what tikkunim are going on with all these souls that are coming back to Hashem through Geris. Now, not every non-Jew needs to do that. There's Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, and they have their derech as well. But the ones who decide to take on, and they have that, usually it's because they have a Yiddish and a Shama, from what I understand, and there was a Har Sinai and wants to come back to Am Yisrael, and it was part of the whole tikkun of the Bria that Hashem sent these sparks out into the Umas Olam so they could become back Yidden. Not all of them once again have to, but the ones who do, and there's a tremendous avoda, it's a tremendous rotzen, and just going through old pictures, because we're dedicated learning to Lipa from Manchester. When I was with David Emmanuel in Manchester with Nissan Black on tour, so Lipa was the main guy driving us around. He's a special guy there in Manchester. He used to drive us around, take us to different people. Nissan made a joke when he gave us, but in a nice way, when he was talking to his family, giving them nechama, that he kidnapped him as soon as we came out of the airport and took him off to other people's places we weren't even planned to go. But it was all worked out. It was very special, and it was a very special experience. He really was so helpful, and he wanted to bring my Borish, but it was too expensive over Bosch. That's one of the conversations I had with him. And we went a few times. We went the first time we went to Manchester. He came in the middle of the night, opened up his store, so that we could get food after arriving on a late flight, and he gave us free food whatever we wanted. And it all got paid for. He was really special soul. And I was with David Emmanuel the second time I went to Manchester, and now he's a chosen, now he's married, and the wedding, and you see that Am Yisrael building Vita with Gerim, with together. But the point is, the Nakuda is Hashem gives us a gift to be Beinonim. That's such a gift, to realize we have an animal soul, and we have to fight this klipa within, and this potency throughout our life. But the garments, it never affects our garments. Our machshava di b'maisa, that's the point of this whole matara, is always doing what Hashem wants. That means we can't, even if we have these feelings to say things are going to bother people, we can't. We have to control it. And it really will make enough community. Imagine every time, instead of making fights, we don't need to, by controlling our speech, we control the speech level. Now suddenly there's no fights. All that energy for Torah, for mitzvahs, for chizuk, for love, for energy, for simcha, and there's no fighting anymore. Imagine the opposite of what reality would be. The more we control our way we speak, or the way we act, and everything's more elevated. So this is these parshas of Nasa and Balaska is to give us the elevation in the midbar, in the state that we have a difficult outside of us, and we have a difficult Yetzer Hara within, but it doesn't mean we have to live that way. We have to be like the midbar, empty. We don't have to be like the Yetzer Hara and bother people. We can elevate our reality, and that we have to be mamin. That's the inyan of Beinonim. The Beinonim is that we are Beinonim, hopefully, that we are not giving into the Yetzer Hara on any of those levels of speech and thought and action. And with we have to start off with action first. Really try to work on doing Yiddishkeit fully, and then slowly work on our speech, and then slowly elevate all our thoughts to Hashem. And when we do have not good thoughts, to just mesir das, to not make a big deal out of them, to take our mind off them, and rather than making a whole hoo-ha. Hashem wants us to be besimcha. That's what we learned in the previous chapters. Anyway, Hashem should give us a beautiful week. We've got to learn now, and we should share only good news, and Hashem should give us koach to go weiter in Tanya in the most important way, that we apply it, b'shleimus, with Mashiach Tzidkeinu. Amen.